If you want to make a stop motion, I can guarantee that you have most, if not all, the things you already need right in your house. Now, the purpose of this video is to show you that you already have all the stuff that you need to make a stop motion. You don't need X software like Dragonframe. You don't need X camera or DSLR or something. You don't need any of that. All you need to get started is stuff that's right in your home. So the first thing that you need is an animation medium and a story. So for an animation medium, you can use paper, clay, or Lego. I like Lego, as you can see here. So this is me. But I like that I don't have to create this character from scratch. This character is already created for me. He's already got structure. He's already got a set movement because of the rigidity of Lego. I'm not sure that's the right words, but his legs move in these lines. His arms move in these lines. So I don't have to worry about recreating I can still recreate movement, but I don't have to worry about like the arm coming in too much or going out too much because this is already defined by the minifigure range of motion. And then, once you got an animation medium, you also need a story. Or actually, maybe you should do story first, actually. But my medium's already Lego, so I just come up with a story and then set out making the pieces I need. So you can do a short story, which is just a hero, some sort of want or need that they want to achieve, and some obstacle to bar their way. That's if you want to do a short story. Now, for your first stop motion, you can also do just concepts. There's plenty of videos on YouTube of just tests or just stop motion tests for people to get the hang of stop motion and see if their idea works for their stop motions. And then there's also stuff like my first stop motion, Bricks in the Wild, is a mixture of both. It's a little test concept to see how stop motion works, but it's also a really simple short story. So what I got here is a concept. So this concept is I need a like and subscribe animation for the video. So if you want more stop motion tutorials, go ahead and hit subscribe. And then if this video is helpful for you, then at the end of the video, then go ahead and like as well. So I'm going to have my character run up, jump up, and then run off, and then separately animate the button. So have it whatever color the subscribe button is, have it go up a little bit, switch color, come down. And that's called replacement animation when you swap out a piece for another piece. So now that you got your animation medium and your concept that you want to do, the second thing you need is a phone, because everyone's got one of these, and if you don't have one of these, then your parents probably have one of these. But having just a phone is not enough. So it's great because the reason we need a phone is because it's a camera in our pocket and we need a camera to do our stop motion. However, just a phone by itself is not enough because it's easier to have an app that will do the thing for you rather than doing it yourself. So I could just set this up with the normal native camera app and just take a bunch of pictures and try to string them together. But then I got aspect ratio, and then I have to put them individually one by one into the software and adjust the length, and it's just a mess. I've also seen people they take a video and then they cut to only the frames they need. And it's just way too much time in editing that you have to do. So something I like to do is download the app, Stopmotion Studio. There we go, Stopmotion Studio. So this app is one used for stop motion. You're able to keep it simple, and it does everything you need. It's automatic. It'll let you control your camera settings to an extent. It'll let you go back and forward, and I'm doing a really bad job explaining it because I haven't used the free version in a while. I know what it does, but I haven't used it specifically in a while. But it lets you take your pictures, it lets you move the characters, and it lets you adjust how fast your animation's going, so your frame rate, so how many frames go by in a second. I like to animate at 12 or 15, that's my preferred speed. And yeah, and then there's also for $5 a Pro version, but it lets me do stuff like onion scanning, and something important for this animation is remove supports. So it just gives you a little more capability with the Pro version, and like I said, it's $5, maybe $10. So not a huge investment, but that's the third thing you need. You need an app to make it a lot simpler. So let me open this app up. All right, so this part looks the same whether or not which app you've used, and these are just a few of the stuff I've made. Here's a real simple one. So this one I just did on my table a few minutes ago, and it's just a pencil rolling by. So it lets me control my camera settings or leave them on auto. It's better if you control them, but if you don't want to have to think about that right now, you can do that later. Just switch to manual later. Start learning how to control your camera later. But yeah, it's just so simply you take a picture, you move it a little bit, take another picture, and repeat, and that's how you get a stop motion. And what this app does is it's already strung the pictures together, so all I have to do to watch my animation is hit play, and then I can export my video if I want to share it with people. But of course I can't hold this the whole time, because like if I were to do that right now, let's just make a new stop motion. So like if I were to try to make a stop motion here with, let's try to make this brick move across. Okay, it did take photos. Oop. So, one step at a time. One step at a time. All right, so done. I made it move across the screen. But as you can see, the light's flickering. That's part of the camera's on auto, so it's doing the lighting for me. But also, it's shaking up and down a little bit. That's because I'm holding onto the camera with one hand. So it makes it harder if I'm animating like a minifigure. I like to use both hands. So I can't hold the phone the whole time, and not everyone's going to have a phone like mine where I can set it up as its own little tripod. And that's tip number 4. You need a little tripod. Now, you can just take your bricks and go like this. Get my phone out here. So one of the ways you can have a tripod is just like this. You just use some basic bricks and set it in them. So here, I'm going to hold this up. So see, it's just held in place by some bricks. If I wanted to, I could add some more bricks for more stabilization. There you go. Now it's wobbling less. This works, and it's a very basic tripod. It works, although it is obstructing my view of the screen a little bit. So, I mean, I could build this in a way like this, where so now it's not obstructing as much of my screen, and I can still see what's going on. But now it's a little more, it's not as secure. Well, instead of using just plain bricks like that, I like these that I got over here. So these are little Technic tripods using the Technic pins and the Technic, the Technic pins and the Technic beams. So what this allows me to do is, and I can also adjust to an extent how tight this is. I find this tripod a little more stable than just bricks. What I also like is that you can also build like a more proper normal tripod. And so these instructions I found online somewhere. If you guys want a tutorial on how to make them, I can do that. But I like this because this also lets me, if I want a little down angle, like I want a top down angle, like we're looking down on the minifigure, I can simply take my little stand and put it on top. And then I can also secure this with a Technic axle if I needed to. And look, I can have a nice little top-down looking angle on my minifigure. And I can also raise this up really, really high if I want a super top-down angle. But this really needs support with stuff, or else it's going to fall. So you might want to use some blue tack as well to help out. And then another thing is that if this is too low to the ground, which it might be for my stop motion, a little bit, so I'll have to come back in a moment, but I can take bricks as a little base, and now, like that, my camera is higher than where it normally would be, but it's not as high as if I had just taken my camera and taken my phone and flipped it around, so that way the camera is farther from the table. So now you have 4 of the 5 things, and the last thing you need is some lighting. So I got some lights on in the room right now, but it's not the greatest idea because it's going to bounce off me and stuff. You can also use outdoor window lighting, but this is definitely not advised, and the reason is because that light flicker from earlier, even if I'm on manual, you don't have control over the weather and you don't have control over the sun. And if it's changing, the light level is going to be changing, and that causes light flicker. So the best way to do this is to control your lighting. And the easiest way to control your lighting is to use desk lamps. Now, my favorite desk lamps to use are these. So these are a nice little light bar. I'm not sure what to call these, but they're desk lamps. So the nice thing about these lights is I have control over how bright they are. So I can have it at max brightness like it is right now. And whoo, that's a shadow on my minifigure. So a little more down in front. But see, that's kind of a little bright, so I can bring the light level down. I can go ahead and dim it down, and that doesn't seem like it's adding a lot, but it's adding a little something. So that's one of the best ways to control the lighting is to bring your own lights. Now, if you have normal desk lights with bulbs, that's fine. You might want to soften the light a little bit with paper, because what this does is it softens how hard the light is, how hard the edge is, so it makes it so you don't cast hard shadows. Plus, it can also be a problem with like glare on a minifigure. So I'm not seeing that problem right now where I have a hard glare, but on bright it is making it a little hard to see. There's a little glare here, but sometimes you can have a lot more of that if you have a really bright, hard light. And that's it. That's everything you need to make a stop motion today. Now, I would encourage you to go ahead and take this knowledge and go do a quick little thing. Like if you want a little prompt, then do a brick trying to eat the other brick, and have one brick, your hero, and have a second brick, the villain, try to eat him. And then have some way for the first brick, our hero, to escape or survive, or like Bricks in the Wild, which I borrowed from Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercial, is eat the original brick. So yeah, I would challenge you to go do a stop motion, so that way you don't get stuck in analysis paralysis, and you keep learning and learning and learning, and you don't do anything because you're just learning and you don't feel ready. So go do something, and then you'll feel that accomplishment of, yay, I did something, I did it, I can do this. And then you are able to now learn more and start implementing at a higher and higher level. And also the best way to learn is by doing. So by doing, you learn so much more than you ever could from a YouTube video. So if you would like to learn more about lighting, I got a video here, and I got a video in the description. And I also have a video in the description on how to come up with story ideas. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.